Let's go. We've got updates for Copilot, OneDrive, Outlook, SharePoint, Teams, and a couple from around 365. Interesting month this month. There's not as much pure Copilot stuff as there has been recently, but it seems to be spread more across the applications, which is an interesting change because the last few months I've had a lot to talk about in M365 Copilot or Copilot Chat, but it's more spread out this month. But look at this. I'm interested in the chat. Has anybody used Researcher, and what do you use it for? Because there'll be some people on this call who have never used it, and they're thinking, what would I use this for? And it'd be great if you put in the chat what you would do with it. So I love Researcher. So someone asked me recently about the permissions that we have for looking at use for a certain thing in the admin center. And that's quite a big topic. And I use Researcher to do the first pass. Now, of course, you've got to check the output and it's got to be your work. You have to go through it, but it's a fantastic resource. But it was a bit limited in how it would output the content. Now we've got these new outputs, PowerPoint, an infographic, straight into a PDF, or maybe an audio overview. Maybe you've done your research. In research, you've researched, you've said what you want, you've had a back and forth, you've set your rules, it's done it. But actually, you just need to have a listen to it because because the idea of reading thousands of words is a bit of a challenge. So those new outputs are looking good. And also, and I'm not seeing how this looks yet, an improved experience with the output you're used to in the Word and the Pages format. Folks, you're going to get this anytime now, but might be as late as early April. So loving in the chat. I love research as well, folks. Michael saying that's used every day, really useful. And you know what? Even if it's not just for work. So I was interested in the history of a car company, of a German car company recently, and I set my rules in Researcher, and the amount of information it gave me was amazing. I then outputted it, and then I got another AI to check that one's homework, and it was actually pretty good. It's definitely worth a look. Okay, this is interesting. This is one for the admins, but it's worth you knowing about. There's a new policy to add watermarks to content generated or altered using AI in your organization. So of course there's some metadata behind the scenes, but it is going to surface it so you can see this watermark. If that's of interest to you, then maybe you go and have a read about that. But just be aware that your organization might bring that in, and it seems like a good safety catch for me. Now I've talked about the real-time voice interactions coming to Copilot podcast. So maybe Suzanne, you've got this 10,000 word document that you need to read, and actually, so you go into where it is, and you tell it to create a podcast, and actually want it to talk to you so you can listen to it. Actually, you're going to be able to interact and ask questions about it. It's been pushed back a little bit, and they've changed it to US English only initially, but that, folks, is coming anytime now into early March. And the change that's coming to read aloud, that's getting Copilot real-time voice interactions as well. Same limitations. They've obviously got the same problem with this feature because it's the same feature just showing up in a different place, right? So US English only, and it's pushed back to early March too. Does anyone use this last one? Does anyone use this last update here, the Hey Copilot, to start voice interactions on your Windows devices? So be interested in the chat or a thumbs up. I had to turn it off, so I had early access to it, but I had to turn it off because I have more than one computer in here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 computers in here at the moment. And I'd be on a call, I'd be talking to somebody about Copilot, and then Copilot would start talking to me on my machine, and it would go, "Yes, Mark, that's a good." I'd be like, "I'm really sorry, I need to go and turn this one off over here." So really good, but it's just amusing. But look out for that, folks. Maybe you've got one computer, then it is worth having a look at. Okay, folks, and I just tried to don't encourage, right, folks. Right, so I know Richard Hallmark from another organization. Don't encourage him. Look at you giving him, look in the chat, the smiley faces and laughs. Right, that's 5, 6. Don't encourage him because he'll keep doing it. Okay, let's see what's going over in OneDrive. So you might be aware of this, and you've had this for a little while in your OneDrive online, where you can summarize and share a summary, sorry, of a file as you share it. Okay, and it's great. So when you come to share, maybe I'm going to share this file with Emma, and I've got this Copilot button here, and then it will create a summary. So when the person receives it, they don't have to open it, have a look at what's inside, go through the whole thing to see whether it's for them. They get this little summary, and I think it's an amazing way to respect the other person's time. I almost think we should all do it by default. Anyway, that is coming to OneDrive on Windows now. Okay, so look out for that. So your OneDrive is on Windows. You're getting that functionality. When you share, respect the other person's time, folks. If you have that, just take a second. It only takes like 2 seconds to click it. And then you'll send a summary so they know whether it's worth reading. Okie dokie. Laura saying in the chat, sounds like an Alexa problem. It is an Alexa problem with your Copilot chat. Keep an eye on the chat, folks. Some interesting stuff in there. Let's see what else we got. So before I go into Outlook, it seems to me that Microsoft have spent a lot of effort in Outlook and Copilot recently. I'm having this kind of real focus at the moment, rather than thinking Copilot everywhere and everything. I'm trying to focus on the smaller things where we can leverage genuine benefits for our colleagues. So if you learn these things, you will absolutely get benefits either from the time saving, but also your personal well-being because you're on top of things. And I think there's been a big effort on Outlook lately. So I'm going to just go over a couple of things that are coming out now. So create and view Outlook rules in M365 Copilot. This is the paid version. So I've gone to Copilot, and it might be that, of course, I know how to create, and maybe we don't know how to create rules in Outlook, but you can go to Copilot and say, create a rule to move emails from my manager to the manager folder. Okay, so we set that off, and it says, okay, so I have set that rule up for you. Here's what it can do. So it's going to move emails from Emma Henry to the manager's folder. The conditions is from this email address, and the couple of actions, just a couple of things that it's the rules that are around it as well. Confirm, I click confirm, and then it sets it up. Now, you might be worried about it being outside, out of mind. How do I then view my rules that are in the Copilot ether? Well, actually, you can just go into Outlook and you can see the rules that you've set up there, and you can call your rules in here as well. So I think this is interesting because there's bound to be people that we work with. We work with people with all sorts of levels of knowledge, don't we? And I bet you there's people who don't know how to set up rules that would like to be able to. So that is one I'm definitely going to be sharing. I really like that. Oops, when's that due? So you might have it now, but it might be early March as well. Okay, how about proactively getting it to RSVP to meetings? So the previous one was about emails. This one is about meetings. So I don't have a good screenshot for this, I'm afraid, folks. I do apologise, but hopefully when we meet again, we'll all have this. So I want it to react to invitations in a certain way. So maybe look at this. Maybe there's somebody whose meetings. Maybe if your manager asks for a meeting with you, and you're free, you're going to accept that meeting. So why don't we say always accept meetings from this person if my calendar's free? If a meeting comes in after 5 o'clock, I don't want to attend. I'm not going to attend. I don't want you to decline. I want you to use the Outlook functionality called follow, so that I can follow along even though I'm not going. Maybe do that. And if a meeting gets cancelled, just get it out of my calendar. Right, and there's other ones as well. So I think that looks quite nice as well. They're going to be a bit more helpful with this. When it's available to you, you're going to get that, that first run experience, where you get this pop-up and it talks you through it and explains it to you. So I think that looks really nice. I'm really looking forward to that as well, due by early March, because if it just saves you just doing repetitive tasks, especially getting rid of things that have been cancelled, I think that's going to be great. Early March for that one. Okay, so this first one, so I've talked about this before. That's why I've only got one line for this now because it's delayed a little bit. There's the new features coming to the free version of Copilot Chat for Outlook, but also there's some other bits as well. But let's focus on Outlook here. So if your colleagues don't have a license, Outlook is going to not only look at the email that they're looking at, but their entire inbox. Okay, the calendar, meetings, everything in one place. So I think this is worth pointing out to your colleagues who don't have a license, because it's about to get a lot more useful for them. And then the little tag on thing, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, instead of them just being their Copilot experience being stuck inside the thing they're looking at because they don't have a license, they're going to be able to, for example, create a PowerPoint deck based on other content they've got access to. So even though it's free, you'll be able to look outside of what they're looking at and pull that information in as well. So I think that looks quite good. This is interesting, and you're going to see this again later. So open Outlook referenced or source emails directly in Copilot chat. So this reads like I'm in chat and it's referred to something. So instead of it popping open and me reading it somewhere else, it looks like I have to read it inside Copilot, inside the experience that I've got in there. That's how it reads to me. I haven't been able to get a screenshot of it. If anyone has, then drop it into the chat. But that's how that reads to me, and I've seen it in another place as well. That change should be here by the end of the month too. Manage your meeting RSVPs in Copilot chat. This is not the same as the previous thing that I said to you. Let's have a closer look at this. So, accept my unresponded meetings for today. Okay, so you can say, yeah, sure, I found these 2 meetings in your calendar that you haven't acknowledged. What do you want me to do with them? So I'm hoping, I've got to be honest, I don't want it to just say, here's everything, let's respond to everything in the same way. But I'm guessing you could say to it, let's handle one at a time, and it'll say, yeah, sure, here's your first one. What do you want to do? Yes, accept. Or here's the next one, don't accept. So I think that's looking useful as well. And that should be here any day now. So think about the things we just looked at, folks. I think Copilot is about to go to the next level with Outlook. Rather than just, it can do some stuff, and you've got to go and work it out for yourself. These are tangible things that it can do that you can use yourself and tell your colleagues. So Luke is asking, can we have access to the recording afterwards? Yes, Luke. There's a short delay because I like to trim it to respect your privacy, and we'll get that sent over to you. Folks, I'm going to pause for breath. Anybody, is anything catch anyone's eye there? Is anyone looking at that stuff in there and like the look of it? Let me pick on Claire Bentley. I'm sure you won't mind, Claire. You okay with those updates, Claire?
Yeah, I am. I do use Outlook rules a lot.
Yeah.
And I suppose it's clicking through to be able to say to Copilot to do it for me. It saves clicking through all the different sheets. I do like that.
Claire, what I see there, for someone like you, you could say, hey, Copilot, why don't you show me all of the rules that I have got? And you can just show them all in one place. And it might be, show me all the rules I've got with the, fingers crossed here, with the option to cancel them and cancel some of them or edit them. So yeah, so I think that'd be useful, Claire. Okie dokie. Why don't we have a little look what else we've got? Okay, so will Copilot work on shared inboxes to create rules? So I'm going to have to just put my hands up here and say I don't know, Emma, but I do know that recently Copilot's got has got better with its access to delegated and shared mailboxes, isn't it? So I'm just going to have to say I don't know if anyone knows the answer to Emma's question, but please help out in the chat. I'm going to put a cautious. Why don't we have a look and see? Because the ability for it to see shared and delegated has or is coming. And let's hopefully these 2 things work together. But that's a great question, and I'm afraid I can't answer it. What's going on in SharePoint? Okay, so this is a bit niche. This is for people who've got e-signature for Microsoft 365. And I did practice, folks, on here, doing my signature on there using the mouse it's quite like animations, but it was so bad I didn't want to embarrass myself. That's why I don't have anything in that section there. This new option lets you draw your electronic signature when signing PDF. So if you want like a more authentic experience, I've got to be honest, I don't know about you folks, I cannot sign with the mouse, but it might be that you've got a stylus or maybe it suits some of the people that you work with in their roles. But you can switch between drawing or typing if you need to. So that works great. So between mid-March and mid-May, pretty niche. But actually, if that's a service that you've got, then that might be super useful for you for signatures to be more authentic. Okay, I'm going to slow down a little bit because this is really interesting. Create structured documents using Microsoft Forms and SharePoint. And really, we should have squeezed in Copilot in that title as well. So we're talking about generating standardized, compliant documents with a form-driven experience. Now, the Microsoft example they gave for this is your organization has to request work permits for where your staff go and work. You you know which things need to be filled out, what questions need to be answered, what rationale works. So to save save somebody just having to just get a pro forma and fill it in and hope they get it right, and there might be a few little variables that don't get quite right, or someone have to do that work and it becoming and then people just getting an old one and recopying it. How about this? So in SharePoint, you can use Copilot on a Word document, and you can create a you can create like a template that people can use. Okay, so you've got all your things that you've all your sections you've filled in and all the rules, and then you create a form, just like a form you can get in SharePoint that the person then fills in. So they then fill in the details in there. Now what happens is that a PDF gets created in your folder where you're keeping these letters, but also the person gets one email to them, so they can then submit that themselves. Okay, so think about the work that you do. Think about the work that you do. It might be that you regularly have to submit something for I don't know, for an authority or a council, or if you're in the NHS, maybe there's a regular thing that you have to apply for. So I think this is definitely worth a look. So it reads like oh no, it is that the person who's creating it and configuring the document needs a Copilot license, but to complete it, people don't. So I think, folks, this is really worth a look. If you work in an organization where we have a lot of standard letters that people have to complete, but you just want a little bit of logic in there, and we want to just that puts me better, and people to be able to self-serve, but you maintain the compliance of those documents. So instead of people copy and pasting an old one, you get control of it. So make a note of the name of this, folks. I think this is definitely worth a look. I see that Steve has been looking at something like that for their travel and subsistence applications. Yeah, so yeah, that could work, Steve. So it's definitely worth a look. Definitely lots of places. And there's quite a bit on there. You'd have to have a good read of that, but I think that's definitely worth checking out. Okay, SharePoint introduces a new workflows experience. I talked about this forever ago, didn't I? So the genesis of this is the new workflow experience that's coming to Microsoft Teams. So remember in Microsoft Teams, it used to be called Power Automate. It sounds a bit scary for a lot of people, so they renamed it workflows, and it's just these little tiny automations which are really useful. So that's getting revamped in Teams, and then when it gets revamped, it's also coming to SharePoint. So it might be in your organization you see an increase in these little mini automations. And I think this is definitely worth sharing with people. They're just little small things that Power Automate will do for people, but it's kind of democratized. It just makes it really, really nice and easy to do. Now, the reason I think it's been delayed in SharePoint is because of the new document library experience. If you haven't got it yet, the new document library experience is coming to SharePoint, and it's really quite different. So make sure you know that's coming. But anyway, folks, due early to late March for that. If anyone is still using 2003 workflow, SharePoint 2003 workflows, they are being retired, and you've got until the 2nd of April to do what you need to do with that. And I'm going to pause for breath just for a second. Who should we pick on now? Judith Quinney. Anything catch your eye there? Have you got the new document library experience in SharePoint yet?
No, but I don't believe we have. We're not using it extensively. It's part of a new project that we're looking at. What's interesting me at the moment are some of the features in Copilot chat. We're sort of midway between releasing full licenses to everybody.
Yeah.
So it just looks as if they're building more into the free license at the moment. So all this is great for up and coming information. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Judith. I think you're right, Judith. That I'm going to pick out that bit that you said there. Every time I do one of these sessions, I feel like more is moving across to the free version of Copilot, isn't it? What we call Copilot chat. And so those folks who don't have the little slider at the top for working web when they go to Copilot, definitely more and more coming across, Judith. I've got to be honest, I still think Microsoft will just do a Google eventually. And if you've got a Microsoft 365 license, Copilot will be free for regular use, and you'll end up just paying for the agents. So I'm convinced that's what's going to happen. And then, of course, we'll all have this explosion of like having to get people up to speed and make sure our files are right, and we'll all have loads of work to do because everyone's going to have it. But that's what Google did because they just didn't get any traction. I bet Microsoft will do the same, but we'll see, Judith. They're just doing it a bit at a time at the moment. Okie dokie, folks. why don't we see what's going on in Teams? I've got Andrew, Charles, got your hand up.
Yes, I did. Hi. So part of the reason I quite like the, pausing is because I can go find something and have a go.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if you could explain the tiny automations, the workflow. Where do we find this?
Okay, so the first place that you can go and find them, Charles, is the easiest entry into this. It hasn't come to SharePoint yet. If you go to Teams, so not this meeting, full Teams, and then you click on the three little dots on the app bar on the left-hand side, one of the things that you can search for is workflows.
Okay.
Click on workflows, and then you'll see it come up. And you might have the old experience, which is a little bit clunky, but the first thing I think you should do, Charles, is go into there and look at the templates. The fastest way I think you'll learn it is to look at the templates, and then you can see all the things that you'll do. And I'm sure, Charles, there'll be one on there. You go, you know what? I can use that right now and set that up. My favorite one is following up on a message. So you set up the follow up on a message. So then when you see a message and you think, I don't have time to read this now, I don't want to just save it. I just want to click on the three little dots, go down, and your workflow will be in your messages, and you can just set that follow up later to make sure you don't miss it. But Charles, go and do that. Go check that out in Teams. And I'm sure if you look at the templates, you'll see one right now that you'll set up.
Thank you. I think it's great to go and have that play, isn't it? I'll let you carry on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's good. I love when people come off mute, because even I get bored of my own voice. Which Emma's smiling. Even I get bored of it. So when you come off mute, I really appreciate it, and it just livens up the session. But thank you for that question. And if anyone uses those workflows, please pop a note in the chat and just say what you use it for. So go and have a look. Let's see what we've got over in Teams. Oh, it's a couple of really good ones. So this view all of your Microsoft Teams drafts in one place. Is to help you keep on top of your drafts. Do you know what I'm going to use it for? There's occasions where you send someone a message and they don't get back to you, or the next time you look in the chat or you look in the channel, your message is sitting there and you didn't send, and it's just sitting there. You looked out the window and got distracted by the pigeons, or something distracted you and you didn't send it. So I think this is good for catching that. But also, it might be that Hugh, you've got some stuff to send out after lunch, and you want it to go to a number of places at the same time, and then instead of you get this all set up, get your draft set up, and then you can use this. So we get this new section here called drafts. When you click on that, you get this section in the center where you'll see all of your drafts. When you click on one of those, you can see on the right hand side, I can now, if you've forgotten to send it, you can send it, or you can edit it or delete it. If actually you don't need to send it anymore, Hugh, because the thing that you wanted to happen has happened. So you don't need to send this email out to this message to all these people trying to get it to happen. So I think that's quite useful. It's going to catch things you haven't sent, but also give you a bit of flexibility if you have that situation. Laura's saying not always forgetting to press send. Do you know what? I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure whether to use that example, because when you think, is it just me that just does that thing? But sometimes it's nice just to be open, isn't it? And I was like, I don't know whether to say that's what I'm going to use it for, but I'm glad that someone else is feeling the same. No, you don't have to draft that. So if you don't have that draft option for Farzine. So that's that box won't be here till mid to late March. So you might have drafts floating around. This is just a way to see them all in one place, but you'll have this next month. Yes, Richard, you could use it for that. You can just get your drafts ready, and then once you've calmed down, send it later if you want to. When I worked for an insurance company once, and there was quite often some controversial things that we discussed. And those who know me, right, they know that I can be a bit opinionated, and I can sometimes form an opinion before I know what the facts. And I maybe shouldn't do that all the time, but sometimes we do these things. And in my had an Outlook rule that when I sent an email, it sat there for 2 or 3 minutes before it left. And this is maybe a little bit like that. Okay, very quickly on this one. Sometimes when we finish a call in Teams or a meeting, we get this pop-up box. I just wanted to let you know that it's changing, but that doesn't really matter, does it? Because people can cope with a change like that. But here is the bit that I want to highlight. that the results are used by your organization, not Microsoft. I'm sure they do for telemetry as well, but it's used for your organization to make sure that you've got a good, healthy, strong core quality experience in your organization. So this might be a good opportunity just to, when you're talking to your colleagues about what's new, just maybe mention this and tell them to take the second. If the call was rubbish, right, why don't you just fill this in, because it's for your benefit and your colleagues. Okay. Don't encourage Richard. Who laughed at Richard's joke? I bet that was Emma. No, it wasn't. Folks, I think this is. You were just about to, though, weren't you? I know you were. Emma knows me as well as anyone on this call, folks. She's known me for years, and she know that sometimes I can be a bit blustery and a bit opinionated, often about things that don't matter. If any of you have been on a call with me at one organisation where I get very upset about things that don't matter, like marzipan. Like marzipan can ruin a Christmas cake, can't it? So I can't get, Emma, you raised your eyebrow. Marzipan is the food of the devil. There's just how you can turn a perfectly good almond into that yellow mush is beyond me. But I do get opinionated about stuff. But anyway, let's move on. I love this update. So we know that when we have a Teams meeting, the recap summary can be quite useful. Well, super useful, and we often share it with people who don't have a Copilot license, and it's great. But what if you've got different people on a call who've got different needs? There's different things that you need to pick out. Well, this has come to save you. Look at this. So a way for you to personalize. So we've got our AI summary here, and then we've got the custom summary. It's great. Just to get us started off, we can say the speaker summary or the executive report. How about we'd like to create our own? Why don't we create our own template? So we click on there, and then we can say, these are the rules. These are the things that matter to me. Okay. So then next time you go in, you'll have your template. You have it named. It'll be sitting there waiting for you. So next time you've got after a meeting, you can have the recap that pulls out the things that matters to your team. I just love this. You should have this by late February. This is one of those really useful updates that'll make a difference. I'm just looking at Michael's things. I've already tried the custom summary and created a template. It works quite well. I just need to make sure to make more progress and get more familiar with all the tools. Yeah, we do, don't we? Michael, I love the fact that we've got the choice, because the one size fits all doesn't fit. But I think that's a brilliant update. And also, those people those people who are agreeing with me about marzipan, it is. I don't even know how it happened. I don't know how that came about. Ionica asks a great question. Is this available with Teams Premium? So that's interesting, isn't it? Because that functionality there, you've seen a lot of that is in Teams Premium, isn't it? That's not, a lot of that isn't Copilot. So I've got to be honest, Ionica, I don't know. If I'm honest, that was just a bit of homework for you, Ionica, and then maybe share that with us. Rebecca's saying an important point here. Eating leftover Christmas cake. Well, I've got to be hard. So Rebecca, I'm still eating leftover Christmas cake. I didn't know I was meant to put it in the freezer though. I thought that stuff lasted forever. I'm still eating mine, minus marzipan. Okay, let's move on for that. I think that's I think that's definitely worth you when you get it. If you're like the people in the chat already using it, go and check it out and share that with your colleagues. Okay. So along the same lines of our recaps, remember, maybe it was August I talked about this, but they put it on hold. So it's going to get a screenshot. They include a screenshot as part of the recap. Now I think I'm quite visual. Now if I'm reading this bit here, this thing that the customer feedback integrations, the fact that I've got an image to just help it kind of like to help my mind just make sense of it, I think this is going to be super useful. It was put on hold, but it's back. Let's see when it is due. So you should have this by the end of February. I don't know what problem they had with it. Maybe it was a privacy matter that they had to resolve. It might be that, I don't know, maybe we've got workers' councils in different parts of Europe that they've got different rules. But anyway, that is back and looks quite good. Quick one. So this is in case you missed it. This is already out, but there's something in here that I want to bring to your attention. The meeting URLs have been changed, so they've been shortened to improve usability. You no longer see join the meeting now, do you? You have this long, well, not as long as it used to be, URL. So it shows the full URL now. So it doesn't look as pretty, but apparently it's more secure. Now, a couple of things. If the meeting organizer leaves your organization, the meetings that they scheduled automatically expire. But look at this. If you have a structured meeting that is planned, the meeting will expire 60 days after the event. So if you're somebody who can't make some meetings and you want to go back, just be aware that they will expire. And your Meet Now, if you share a Meet Now link, and there's one organization I do some work with, and we use that for regular meetings, that will expire 60 days after creation. So slightly different rules, 60 days after the event for structured meetings, but the Meet Now is 60 days after it has been created. Let's see what we've got over here. So, Veronica, I don't know. Do you want to pop off mute, just clarifying your question, see if anybody can help. What issues you're having. If you don't want to, you don't have to. No one needs to come off mute.
Yeah, no. I've had a couple of users that go into meetings and they can't connect with the meeting using that new URL, and it just won't connect. So then half an hour later, it sort of gets active. I'm not quite sure if it's something that we need to whitelist, or I don't know.
Interesting. So, folks, anyone else in the chat? So it's been around for like about a month now, hasn't it? Anyone else having trouble with people connecting to that? So I haven't experienced any trouble, Ioannika, but I just wonder if anyone else has. If you have, please pop it in the chat. Richard, does it give the option to right-click? I don't know. I've not tried it. I don't. I'm obviously not bothered by the layout. I've never tried it, but that's one for you to try. That's interesting. Look at that, Ioannika. Louise has had trouble as well. Fazine's delighted because they still have the join button. It's going, by the way. You're not going to have that for long. That is definitely going to go. It's definitely going to go, that button. So Ioannika, I don't know. So someone else has the issue, but you might have to just do a bit of homework on that, Ioannika, I'm afraid. Okay, so meeting notes will be available in instant meeting. Just very quickly on this one. So we know that meeting notes isn't new, but they didn't appear in instant meetings before. So maybe you got to your calendar and you've clicked Meet Now, or you started from chat, or it's just started from a group chat, or whatever it is. Your meeting notes is going to be available, and you should have that. But from the end of the month into late March. Is that a modeling agency? Do you know what? I've been looking at these people's photographs, but I've been talking about updates in Teams in Microsoft 365 for years now, and they take a body updating those. Okay. I'd really like to know what you think about this, folks. I saw it on someone from Microsoft share it on social media, and not entirely surprisingly, everyone was giving hearts and claps, and I said they loved it. Maybe people don't surface to be grumpy about stuff on the person's feed, which I guess is polite. But I'm really interested, folks, what you think of this, because I'm really struggling whether I don't know what to think of it. My initial thought is Teams is just going to get busier. Then I thought, oh, actually, maybe it's a good way to surface stuff. And Teams, because often describe Teams as it's like a window to your workplace, isn't it? It shows this is where you go to work, isn't it? And you go out from there. So Viva Engaged Communities are being added to the chat navigation in Teams. So it's going to appear here. Let's just go forward one. Now, I personally, we're all different. I can't get on with the unified chat and channel experience, so I always keep that separate. So I will see it. I will see this in both apps. This new drop down here called Communities, and it might be that there's one that I favorited, and if you favorited it, it's going to appear in your favorites here as well. So Communities is going to appear in here, and it's also the activity is going to appear in my already busy activity feed. You can probably tell that I'm really not sure about this. I'm a bit like, yeah, I'm not sure. But folks, anyone looking at that and thinking, I absolutely love it. This is a great update. Or is anyone thinking, you know what, this isn't, this is just, it's busy enough and I'm not sure about it. So Laura's got mixed feelings. And he says that they separate theirs as well. I have to separate. I just can't get on with a combined view. Ioannika, what do you reckon?
I love it. Mark, I love the new combined view. It really, with all the channels that I'm on, it's chaos. I can control it. But I don't have to flip out into Viva Engage because I've got on Engage communities that I have to watch, see if questions happen. Where this will alert me at least that I've got something in there. And no, I love it. Definitely love it.
That's interesting. Do you know what I love about these sessions is, for those of you who know me, you know that I can have an opinion, you can have an opinion. We don't need to agree, do we? We don't. There's so many things we can cooperatively and pleasantly disagree, and it's good like that. The only thing I like about the combined view is the ability to make those custom sections. Those are epic. There's no doubt about that. But it's interesting that you have that use for it. I'm glad and it's great that we've got the choice, isn't it? And it's interesting to hear your view on the communities as well, because I really want to know people's views on this. How about you, Neville? What do you think about this combined view? Sorry, another combined view. The communities coming into all your views.
Well, this is talking about the splitting of the views. I quite like it because A, I can put all my project work together, and B, what I think is quite important is you can prioritize very fast. So if your priorities are changing very quickly, you can move things up and down, move them in and out. But it is a challenge to keep on top of where stuff is, especially if you add in chats with your channels as well. But swings and horses for courses.
Yeah, and swings, horses for courses, and swings and roundabouts. But Neville, you bring up a good point there, because our minds work in different ways, don't they? So it might be that you WhatsApping in one place in the combined view. So I know we're not talking about, we've kind of strayed from the engage point, but we've got a minute. We've got a minute of time left. We're ahead of schedule slightly. So the combined view, if you're the type of person that wants to see everything in one place, and especially those custom sections, they are fabulous. If your mind works like that, then the combined view is amazing. And you heard the enthusiasm that Ioannika had for it as well. Whereas if your mind prefers things in the boxes where they live, and you know where to go and find them, you don't want them to come to you, you want them to stay where they live, then the separate view works really well for that. Yeah, I got a thumbs up from Neville. Neville agrees with that. Okay, folks. So the community is coming in, and you can't stop it. But you can unfollow stuff so you don't see it. But let's see how that looks. So it'd be great next month to see what your colleagues think about it. Okay, this is also a candidate for update of the month. How many times have you had a message from someone that goes something like this? Hi Mark, new message. I wonder if you could help me with something. New message. I've got an issue with blah 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 blah. New message. Hope you can help. New message. Thanks. New message. Okay, we've all had that, haven't we? Right, I'll get a couple of thumbs up in there, and I know. So Delia likes it, Mitz likes it. Richard never gets things called hi Mark. I hope not. So one can say I do that. We all do it, right? We all do it. You all do it. You say press send, and you're like, oh, do I quickly edit it, or do I delete it and start again? Anyway, I know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to go into Teams. I'm going to click on the three little dots in the top right hand corner, settings and more, go to settings, go to chats and channels, and I'm going to be changing it to start a new line. So when writing a message, press enter 2, and then you can tell it to start a new line. I might talk about this when this is out and available. I might talk about this on every single session, and anyone who'll listen to me, I'll get them to change it. Now let's say that you don't change it. You're going to get a reminder when you're composing about what the enter button does. So you press enter and it starts a new line. And also, I guess the opposite will be press enter and it's going to send your message before you've quite finished it. Anyway, I kind of think this should be default. The default, and you can change it back if you want to, but it's not. But I think that's a great update, and we should all have that by late February. Yeah, Deal, it's similar to the tip that we shared before. So there's also a setting in there as well, where when you're leaving a message, leaving a meeting, so you can say to it in your meeting settings, when you leave a meeting, because the buttons, you can get a bit clicky, can't you? You can accidentally leave a message, leave a meeting. You can set it so that when you press leave, it says, "Are you sure you want to leave?" And you can leave. So that works well. Okay, so sticking with Teams, When you share an image in Teams, it's going to remove the EXIF data from shared images. So you know that behind the scenes in an image, it might have location details, it might have time, device, all that sort of information behind the scenes. It's going to strip out all of that when you share an image in Teams. That should be here by early March. We talked about this earlier, didn't we? And hopefully Charles is going and checking this out. So we clicked on the three little dots in Teams, and then we went to workflows. I apologize for that being a little bit fuzzy. And soon you're going to have this new experience, which is a little bit nicer, especially the template section. You should have this by the end of the month, and hopefully just you go and check it out, and you find a little automation that maybe is good for you. Express voice enrollment in Microsoft Teams. So when you go into your Teams settings and you go to, I think it's in devices. I think it's in device. I'm not sure if it's in devices or calls now. Maybe someone can have a quick check and just pop a note in the chat. I can't remember if it's in devices or calls. You got the option there to have voice isolation. So not just reducing the noise, but actual isolation. And then you read a couple of sentences out, and it knows what your voice sounds like. Super good if you're in a noisy office. And it's so good that I was on a call on the machine behind me, and I wasn't using a microphone, just using the built-in microphone and speakers on a device. And my wife came in. My wife knew the person that I was talking to on this meeting, and my wife spoke to the person, even though that she was standing right next to me. She literally couldn't hear a single word of what her wife was saying. It just totally filtered out her voice, and she could only hear me. It works so well. I can't tell you how good it is. So the express version of that. The express version of that doesn't require you to go in. It's just you're going to get a prompt and say, do you want to turn this on? Next time you speak on a meeting, we'll listen to you, and then we'll set up your voice isolation. Now, Veronica saying, is this policy managed, the voice isolation? I bet it would be, Veronica, depending on your organization, right? Because it has to listen to your voice and it has to store it, it has to do some processing. I don't know where that lives. I'd like to think it lives within the service boundary of your tenant. So I wouldn't be surprised if some organizations don't have it. Like one organization that I work for, one government organization, I know I don't have it. And it's probably for that exact thing we just described. But if you do have it, go and check it out. So I do have it on, in fact, that machine I'm talking about behind, that's a government laptop as well, different government organization, but I have it there. So I guess it depends. It's an amazing feature. Private chat for organisers and presenters in structured meetings, webinars, and town halls. So we're on a meeting. Let's say that myself, Claire, Suzanne, Dawn, and Evangelos, we're running a webinar together. And it might be that I'm handing over to Claire, and I'm like, oh, I forgot to say this. Claire, can you say that? And then Evangelos says to Claire, when you hand it over to me, can you just say this or just cover this? Then I'll do it. And we can have that chat behind the scenes. Right. And I can't wait for this. Some of the webinars that I've done with other people that I work with, and even doing it for other organizations when we're presenting something. If I'm running this, if I'm like running the meeting, and it's like I'm handing over to different people, and they come back to me, I often say to them, you've got 4 minutes, or you got 7 minutes, or 8 minutes, and I say to them, if you see me messing with my glasses, then you're almost out of time. If I take my glasses off, you're in trouble, and you need to stop talking. Well, I won't need to play with my glasses anymore, even though I've got the habit of doing it, because I've got this functionality, and I can't wait for this to come in. So if you do group webinars, you'll have this by late March. Okie dokie. Let's see what we've got. So just a quick one for you to remind your colleagues of, just in case it comes in and people contact you, and then they're like, Elisa, is this legit? Something happened to my browser? Has it been hijacked, or something happened? So we're just getting this change. So here's what you see at the moment, and it's just getting changed to this much nicer experience. A couple of the settings are getting surfaced, so they're a little bit easier to get to. So not a big change, but it might be worth just mentioning to your colleagues in case they're conscientious and they see a visual change like this and they flag it. Okie dokie. Open Word, Excel, and PowerPoint files in M365 Copilot Chat. So this is a bit like the thing that we mentioned earlier, isn't it? So we talked earlier about emails opening in the Copilot Chat. I guess we're going to see more of this. So if it references one of these files, you're going to see this. You're going to see this file, and you can read it inside the chat. I guess it stops you having to context switch and move. I still don't know what it looks like, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that comes out. A delay. So those of you who are new to the session, we got a clock here, so that tells you this has been delayed by some period of time. So the AI-powered image editing that's coming to PowerPoint. So not just removing the background, but if you've got text on an image, actually manipulating the image and changing the text, things like that. But that's been pushed back a little bit, maybe early March for some of us. I don't have it anywhere, but I tell you what I do have. See this remove background? That has got, they've obviously AI'd it, because next time you go into a PowerPoint, try that remove background. It just gets you right most of the time now. It's got so much better. None of that like drawing little bits and then seeing how that looks and drawing a bit more and colouring it in and colouring it out. So go and check that out. The background's got a lot better, and those other features been pushed back a bit. You should have those by early March. Turning Teams meetings into PowerPoint slides. So we've had a meeting together, and it's like, oh, I need to go and talk to my boss about this meeting that we've had. That functionality has been cancelled. I don't know why it's completely cancelled at the end of last month. Microsoft Authenticator. So remember that if you've got Authenticator on your phone and your phone is rooted or jailbroken, then the Authenticator for Microsoft is going to stop working. I know it's a bit niche. We don't do that much anymore. But if that is you, then your Authenticator is going to stop working. Okie dokie. Why don't we see what people like? So can someone give me a thumbs up when you can see that poll? Okie dokie. I've got a hand up. I think that's going to be a thumbs up. Yeah, the hand's gone down. Yes, so you fill that in. We just want to say some stuff to you. And I lightheartedly comment here that a free webinar, you just wouldn't be right with it without the people paying for it, just raising something for you. So because of our position with Microsoft, we're able to access funding on your behalf. So if you want help with Microsoft Copilot adoption, and we've done this with quite a few organizations now, and it works beautifully. We look at your organization. You can tell us a little bit about you, and we can work out very quickly what funding you can access. And we apply for the funding, we help you do it, and you get some training, you get some adoption. It's really flexible now. So what they focus on is the result. Has your organization adoption rate changed? And you get the funding, and we take care of all that for you. So get in touch if that's of interest to you. You got nothing to lose, have you, by asking? I'm so rubbish at selling stuff. I also want to get past that slide. I'm so bad. I couldn't monetize a cash cow. So I always say that bit, but we have to. Let's move on. Okie dokie. Let's see what people like. So 11% the create and view Outlook rules, but it's a bit. You know what? It's more evenly spread than I thought. All your Microsoft Teams drafts in one place is quite popular. The custom Teams meeting recap 13%. Choosing the enter key, that has just about got it. Delia Carr has said, I don't like that Microsoft are removing descriptions or the icons in the Teams rail. I think you covered this last month. Due March, will we turn descriptions back on? So actually, Delia, so I might have mentioned it on some of the quick stuff, but I've just a few days ago wrote that up. So I'm going to talk about that next month. Okay, so if people don't know what Delia's talking about, is that all of on the rail on the left-hand side, the descriptions, the name for the feature is going to go away, and that's going to happen by default. And you need to go into settings and turn it back on if you want to. Now, Delia, I'm working with an organization moving from Google to Microsoft. Not all of them are super happy about it. I think about my position. I'm going to try to tell these people who've got a lot to learn. You went from Google to Microsoft, you've got a lot to learn. And I really feel for these people. And they open Teams, and they've just got a load of hieroglyphics down the left-hand side, and they haven't got a label telling you what it is. And I'm just like, how is this going to be the default? I just find it just bizarre. Yeah, so they have the hover tooltip. Yeah, but I'm thinking about the people who are brand new. I just can't believe that it's their default. Yeah, have it as an option, but don't turn them off. But you know what? Fingers crossed, Microsoft changed that, reversed that. I'd like to say next month it's been delayed. They're going to flip it the other way around, and you can turn it off if you want to. Okay. So the most popular update of the month is the ability to choose the enter key. We've all been a bit selfish there. That's all for our own benefit, isn't it? Okay. Folks, does anyone have any questions or comments before we finish a few minutes early and you get 5 minutes back before lunchtime or your next meeting? Neville.
Like briefly, I did put it into the chat, but this question is, if we're running all these Copilot things in the background, could that affect our home bandwidth or even the office bandwidth? Because I quite like the idea that there's so much we can do. You're running something on Outlook, you've got your workflows. What's your thinking on that?
So, you know what, Neville? I've not been asked to talk about or seen it come up. So, running on the background. So, I guess most people runs on a server, doesn't it? Unless you're interacting. Oh, that's not quite true either, actually.
I mean, I should add.
I don't know. Well, what do you think, Neville? Has anyone got any thoughts on that? Tell me about your question, Neville. What do you think?
Well, while people are thinking, I'd like to add, a lot of people, as we see on meetings, they have thousands of tabs open, and I know each tab can be absorbing little bits of MBs.
Yeah.
And that can draw. So if you've got Copilot running as well, we're adding layers of processing to our home systems.
So my gut feeling, Neville, my gut feeling is no for general stuff, because I think it does stuff when you're interacting with it. The exception to that might be scheduled prompts. I love schedule. If you haven't done scheduled prompts, by the way, folks, you've got to look at scheduled prompts. Monday morning, get it to tell you about your week. Every morning, what sort of day have I got? End of the week, what have I missed? So maybe that would, but that's on the server as well. Do you know what, Neville? I've got to say, my gut feeling is going to be no. And don't forget your tabs. But Microsoft Edge has got a lot better at putting tabs to sleep as well. So I'm going to guess no. And because I'm not, I'll tell you what, you know what? The fact that you and I are talking about this, Neville, a couple of years after Copilot's been around, if it was a problem, we'd know the answer, wouldn't we? If it was causing an issue, it would have surfaced, and we'd know. It's a great question, Neville, but I'm going to trust the community, and I'm going to say, if it was a problem, we'd have heard about it. How about that?
Lovely, that's helpful. Thank you very much. Cheers, Mark.
Okay, folks. So we've come to the end of our time together. First of all, I want to thank you for coming to the session. I've so enjoyed it. It's been a very light-hearted session, and the chat, and you come off mute, and if I one or two people that I pick on, I only pick on people that I know that I've worked with before, and I know they're okay with it, so don't ever worry about me doing it to you. There's great banter, it's light-hearted. You make this topic, this could be the driest topic in the universe, but you people make it fun. So I want to thank you for engaging in the chat. But we're done, folks. Hopefully you'll join us next month. Invite as many colleagues as you like. Everyone's welcome. But we're done for now, folks, and hopefully I'll see you next month.